Hi, Jeremy Santa Cruz here, and you saw in my last post a video of a fire department running from the side of the wall, a house wall foundation, coming out from the perpendicular foundation, not underneath the footing and coming out to the FDC. Now, when you do fire department connections, it's really tricky. Um, I want to show you this here. Now here is the plan for the garden level of this house that I'm doing. Now it's an apartment. It's just a big house divided into four units. But here you have the mechanical room, and you have a fire line coming from the mechanical room. It says that it's going to go down into the ground through the concrete floor. It's going to come out west, go north, east, and to the fire hydrant. Now, here's the problem with that. Their fire department lines will be run through parkades and then out the wall. And parkades, they're above ground. In some cases, it'll be run in the third level below parking, below, three levels down, and then it'll run back up to ground level and come out the wall. That's not the case here. This is a house, so it's really tricky, because if you run down below the floor in the mechanical room and go underground the 26 inches, 23 inches, or whatever it is that your code is in your district, runs around the house and pops up in the front of the house, in a mailbox concrete wall. How will you drain that fire department line once it has been used? Now, you have the ball drip in the mechanical room, but it'll just drip what's inside the header of your valve station, and then it goes down into the ground. And then how are you gonna drain the trapped water in there? So you have a huge what do you call it, a pit where your ball drip would be underneath the FDC line, FDC snoot. So out front of the house, you'd have a wall containing the fire panel, the FDC connection, and the mailbox in this wall. And then underneath, in front of that, you'd have this big 3x4 or 3x3 or 2x3 box going way down deep below your ball drip 90. No builder's going to put that in their front yard. No one's going to dig that deep. And I don't want to put it in my budget where you have to stack two boxes on top of each other, and then you'd have to access it for service somehow. So it's got to be bigger than 2x3. Not everybody's tiny like me. Most fire sprinkler guys are giants. So typically in a house, 13R multi-residential, you'll want to run it through the house. So the way I did it is, from the header, I went straight up, and I stayed high in the ceiling, and I went all the way over to the wall that's closest to the fire department connection, and then across the ceiling, down, and then through the wall. Now, a lot of people in the city don't like that. You got to know that you're not always allowed to break through a wall that's in the ground and ready to be water could penetrate the wall and flood a basement. Not everybody likes that, but you don't have a real choice. So you talk with the builder and you say, you either get a pit or we go through that wall, and we make sure we seal it tight so it doesn't have any water egressing into the basement foundation wall and flooding the house. So, and I've done this before, and it's allowed in Vancouver in some areas, but not always. Every inspector is smitten to that, so you kind of gamble. My argument is that you're not going to have a pit in the front yard by a mailbox just for a ball drip. So what I did was, and you'll see in the pictures following, when I run across the ceiling and down through the wall, I'll have a T with the bowl going out the wall, the run going up to the ceiling, and the run facing down would be the drain, the drain that you would drain the trapped water with. So you'd have two areas where you can release the water in the fire department line. One is at the T, and you would make an access panel in the wall chosen by the builder, and you'd have a ball valve there, and you just open the ball valve and drain that trapped water. And then in valve room, you'd have where the FDC connects to the header, and you'd have the ball drip in your check. This house is about 80 feet long, so you saved yourself galvanized pipe and tape and fittings and digging, and you've only spent 2-inch blaze. It's really very difficult to run fire department connections in wood frame buildings, houses converted into apartments, which is a very common thing in Vancouver now. But you got to break some rules as a fire sprinkler fitter, and you got to be smart about it because we don't all have parkades. So it's a learning curve for you apprentices out there. Take note of this. You're going to be trying to figure this out one day, and hey, you heard it from Rising Forest Fire.